to keep all of our valuable talking.
You have to put the logo up. Oh,
you can do it post, right?
I don't know. I put it up for a brief second.
All right.
All right. So welcome to Jeremiah Creek. I'm David Haynes. This is Bull Garlington right over here.
Hello. We never talk about what we're smoking. I'm smoking a La Gloria Cubana Spanish Press.
I'm smoking an Asylum 13.
Yeah, it's
my favorite cigar.
We can just put that on a loop.
I don't smoke that many cigars anymore, so if I'm gonna buy I'll try something new if somebody gives me something new. But nobody ever gives me anything new.
I'm not gonna give you. I gave you a pen and a notebook. That's good for a year, dude. When you fill it up, all right, then I'll get you a cigar. George was just telling me that he bought a $60 cigar the other day, and it was really good.
Oh,
the guy that works here, George.
Oh, I wonder if he gets a discount.
It wasn't here.
Oh.
It was a different cigar store.
All right, we have to before we get into any topics, we have to talk about something. People may have noticed that Jeremiah Creek has not made an appearance lately. Jeremiah Creek, the namesake of the show, and it's because there's been several viral videos of Jeremiah going around, and he's gotten a lot of bad press.
Just Google it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to Google it, but I'm not gonna say who he was kissing. I mean, I'm not gonna say what happened, but just because somebody does a podcast and they're world famous travelers and explorers, it doesn't mean that some parts of their lives aren't private. And
we're not role models.
And
neither is Jeremiah Creek.
Just because he videotaped it and put it out there and talked about it does not mean that he expects everybody to be looking and commenting on his.
Did
post.
He videotape it, or did the hotel chain videotape it?
He videotaped it, but it was meant to be a private video for
like the broadcasters here at Jeremiah Creek. Our opinion is our own, and we are not entirely affiliated with the opinion of our namesake Jeremiah Creek in those moments when he does something that we don't want to be affiliated with. That's a small print right there.
Right. So we we don't want comments or questions about Jeremiah's viral video to come to us and asking us about it. We just wanted to make this one statement and then let it go.
Yeah, I mean,
let Jeremiah live his life.
Again, go to YouTube and search.
Well, no, don't search for it anymore, because the problem is people keep searching for it, and then when people search for it, other people see it, and really so. Don't search for Jeremiah Creek.
Yeah,
videos.
Whatever you do. Yeah. I mean, it's better that they see that than what he did at the Olympics.
We would even prefer that you didn't even ask other people about it.
Yeah, don't talk about it. The first rule of Jeremiah Creek is you don't talk about Fight Club.
All right. Do you want to know why I'm bringing that up?
Yes, please.
I actually saw a TikTok video of these two girls who were kissing on camera. Yeah.
Okay.
And so apparently, the original video.
Please say they were women and not girls.
They look like teenagers to me, but I don't know. I mean,
okay.
I'm not I'm at an age where all the girls look young.
That's true.
I mean, they could have been in their 20s. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, they had a video of them kissing. And so what happened was I was on TikTok or YouTube Reels. I don't know. I don't remember. One of those. And this video comes up of these two girls talking about how terrible it is that they keep getting comments and people keep searching for this video of them kissing. And please stop doing it, because some things should be private. And they're going on and on and on. And I realized that the first thing I did, actually, they didn't say what they were doing on the video. They just said, please, everybody stop searching for the video of us. And every time somebody searches for it, 1,000 people see it and see the search. And
what a ruse.
Yeah.
What a ruse.
First thing I did was search for it. I didn't know what the hell they were talking about.
It's private. That's
private.
why you put it on TikTok, because it's private.
So I thought, that's a great idea. So we should create a bunch of people looking for Jeremiah Creek.
I don't know where you're going with this.
Jeremiah Creek.
I'm not kissing him either.
Well, that's why he's not here, so we have to have people looking for him.
All right, I like it.
Yeah. Anyway,
My video habits have descended into crass tastelessness.
oh, actually, video. I wanted to ask you about videos. You have stated that your better half is very into reality shows.
So much, and they're not even shows. They're just YouTube reality stuff.
All right, and well, yeah, but it used to be shows.
I mean, she does watch 90 Day Fiancé and stuff like that. So yeah, reality shows.
Has she been into that for a long time though?
Oh yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this, because this occurred to me, and I realized I had never ever asked. Did she watch Donald Trump's reality show when he had a reality show?
No, only because that's not her kind of thing.
The Apprentice. It was The Apprentice, right?
Because it was more like almost like a game show, really.
Yeah, like Survivor.
It was a lot like Survivor, but no, she didn't watch it. But it's not for any particular reason. It just whatever didn't appeal to her.
Oh, okay.
No, she never watched it. You know what? I take that back. I think we did watch that because now I'm starting to remember. Yeah, we did watch The Apprentice. Yep.
I wondered if she liked it. The reason I'm bringing it up is because I recently saw a video that popped up on YouTube of Donald Trump being interviewed. God, it had to be back in the 80s by David Letterman before the beard, which I emulate.
Yes. Rather well.
But being interviewed by, he looked so young. It had to be in the 80s, 90s, something like that.
Yeah.
It was, you know what it was? It was when it was an interview after he did something to help restore Rockefeller Center.
Mm.
And apparently the city of New York couldn't get it done for 2 years or whatever, and he donated money and donated time and got it done in 4 months. I don't know the whole story, but it was an interview that David Letterman was doing of Donald Trump, basically about that incident, and most of the conversation centered about how hard it is for government people to get things done, and that's why business people have to help. And David Letterman, it was almost a fawning interview. And at one point, he was actually trying to talk Trump into running for office.
Wow.
And Donald Trump was saying, "I don't think I'd ever want to run for office. And basically because you can't get anything done in government, you have to get it. If you want to get things done, you have to be outside of government."
Huh.
And it was just an interesting.
I know why he ran for office.
And it occurred to me, and I mean, I know I've heard this, but he was. A lot of people, especially in New York and the real estate, liked him very much. I always thought he was kind of.
Yeah, he was a celebrity.
Yeah,
he was a business celebrity.
Yeah,
yeah. There's not a lot of those, man. He was like, I mean, the business celebrities used to exist. They were in the previous century, way back in the 1920s and stuff. You know, Rockefeller and J.P. Morgan and the guy here in Chicago, I forget his name. Those guys were celebrities in that regard because they did crazy shit like that. I mean, the guy here in Chicago moved a fucking building. He raised a building, you know? And so, yeah, I can see that stuff being interesting, you know?
It just goes so, and like a lot, like I heard he was at Hillary Clinton's wedding. And
he was. There's pictures.
Yeah, and you forget that all these people liked him before he got into politics. Now they hate him.
And they liked his money.
Yeah, they liked
his money.
I
mean, I think that they like the fact that he could drop a lot of money on them, you know, and so it shows that the true coin of the realm in America is attention. It's celebrity and its status. I mean, that's a fact of human beings and a lot of animals too. General status is super important, you know, and when you achieve the status that you're looking for, you tend to feel pretty good about yourself, and we rate people based on their status, you know.
Yeah, it also brought to mind how easy it is to forget a lot of this stuff. That, you know, we forget things. Like, I'm constantly being reminded of things.
Well, we're married, so that's, you know, we're constantly reminded of.
But it's very easy to memory hole a lot of things from back then that we just don't. Well, one of the things I really enjoy is watching YouTube videos of funny old commercials. And, you know, and some of them you forget these products existed or that commercials were risque at one point, you know, and it was you know, I don't know, it just struck me as odd.
I don't do that. I don't do that, and I know a lot of people that do, and more as we get older, more and more people do that, and I am not. I don't think I'm sentimental, and I don't think I'm nostalgic. I really don't give a shit about all the stuff that happened before. Like, I don't dwell on old TV shows and commercials, and I mean, okay, I do listen to music from the '70s, but I don't think that's the same thing. I don't listen to it because of the nostalgia. I listen to it because it's fucking good.
Yeah, because you don't like anything. You know, you like certain things. You know, it's funny. I don't know. It just occasionally it strikes me that there are things that we've lived so long and we've seen so much and forgotten so much.
I sometimes can't believe how old I actually am. Like when I look at, for instance, who was it that I saw yesterday? Jack White, or yeah, Jack White. All right, the musician. Mm-hmm. Dude's about to turn 50.
Wow, really? That's it?
Yeah, but still, that's the weird thing is that in my mind, especially with musicians, and a lot of my friends that I haven't seen in a long time, my mental image of them is static.
Yeah.
So when I see Jack White, I see him as he was in like 2003. That's when I first, found out about the White Stripes and everything, and so I see him that way. But that's not who he is anymore. That dude,
right.
he's got wrinkles and stuff, And same thing with Nick Cave, man. I fucking adore Nick Cave, but I just saw him in an interview recently, and the dude looks like a grandfather because he is. And It's like I forget, we're fucking ancient, Me more than you.
I read every day since the beginning of the year. They started I think it's in the Tribune, where they do this day in history. Basically, They brought it back. I know they used to do it years ago, and I read it almost every day just because it's interesting. And what I get caught up a lot of times is in the birthdays where you see how old people are. It is funny to me that the actresses that I find most attractive are within the proper age range. At least 40.
Yeah.
But
and then there's some people that no matter what they seem to not age, like Helen Mirren. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. Although she's looking pretty old now.
Well, it took a while for her to get there.
Yeah. But the other thing today I know. Okay, so they do this day in history, and they do a list of famous things that happened. So in this day in history today, and then the first article is, they put one thing that happened on this day in history, and then they list other things. So it's like to my mind, it's whatever the authors think that the most important thing on
like
this day.
There's a main thing and then some bullet points.
Yeah. And so today the main thing was Barack Obama was nominated on this day in 2008.
Seems late in the year, right?
No. Well, DNC was last week, so.
Oh, right. Okay.
You would think it'd just be whatever.
He was already running. Okay, yeah.
And it actually had the nomination, which means at the DNC. But then in the other things that happened today, there was a earthquake that killed 60 people back in the 60s, whatever. There was a hurricane that killed 13,000 people before that, and then there was another something that some famous. I should look it up. Some famous thing that killed like 3 people. And I'm like, granted, Barack Obama, it should be listed there, but really, is that the highlight of this day in history?
If it bleeds, it leads. That's news thing. Yeah. They should put the most deaths at the top.
That's right.
You know.
Whatever.
Yeah, today actually, speaking of hurricanes, when I walked outside to get in the truck and come here, it felt like Florida. This is what my life was like when I was growing up. This was every day.
Well, I'll tell you what. I played golf yesterday.
Oh, you stupid motherfucker!
I played golf yesterday.
It was so hot, man.
And I'll tell you, the last couple. Okay, for those of you who are listening to this later in the year or outside of Chicago, I think today actually is the hottest day, and it's supposed to hit close to 100.
It was 95 on the way over here.
Yeah, with the index, it might be. There might be records. I'm not sure. But it's really hot. Yesterday was just a degree or 2 cooler, but I'll tell you that there was a big difference. I played golf yesterday and had no problem because the humidity was way down yesterday.
Not today.
Not today. Today the humidity's up,
I had to row my truck here.
I mean, I felt it from the time I got home from my golf game yesterday. I finished playing about 5:30, and I got home. We went out, did an errand or whatever, and I was watering the lawn about 8:30 last night, and the humidity had changed in just those couple hours.
Yeah.
The temperature had gone down 10 degrees, and it felt hotter.
Well, we live next to a giant lake, and so what happens is when it gets hot, the humidity boils that water off the lake, and then it begins to drift over. That's why Florida's humid all the time, because of all the water and the heat all the time. That's all it is.
Well, I'll tell you too. Saturday,
haze.
it's another thing we grow up hearing in Chicago, is that it's cooler by the lake, and during my childhood, I lived close to the lake, not 10 blocks from the lake, so it was not something I much paid attention to. But this past Saturday, I went to my sister's house, who lives near the lake, and coming from my house near O'Hare Airport, you really felt the difference in that 2 miles from my house to her house, getting closer and closer to the lake. Temperature dropped. It had to be 10 degrees.
Wow.
Because the water's always cooler.
I mean, it holds the cold in the summertime and the warmth in the wintertime,
Right.
Although not much warmth in the wintertime because it freezes like a motherfucker.
Not lately, not in the last few years.
But
all right, so what else you got? You were losing weight, right?
I am losing weight. I'm down 72 pounds, but I'm stuck. My time in the hospital kind of it put the kibosh on a lot of different things. My weight loss is stalled, and my productivity at work is fucking shot. I'm down from like 2,500 words a day to like 750 words a day. It's ridiculous. I'm barely moving, and but today is, according to the doctor, the day when I'm cleared, and so hopefully things will pick back up again. I don't know, but the heat certainly doesn't help. But yeah, I lost a lot of weight, and my clothes.
You'll sweat out some of that.
I ain't doing it. Fuck that shit. No, I'm not going outside unless I have to. I mean, I walked the dog this morning, and I'm like, sorry, kid.
Why don't you go clothes shopping?
Yeah, no. I'm not shopping for clothes until I'm done with this weight loss thing. And that's like next June, maybe.
But how do you know? I mean, next June. You're not going to buy new clothes. You're complaining about your clothes for next year. We're going to hear this shit?
Yep, absolutely. And like right now, walking across the Cigar King, my shorts almost fell off twice.
There's suspenders.
Okay, yeah, I know. I wear suspenders, but I'm not wearing them with gym shorts.
I got these suspenders. Okay, this brings up an interesting topic because my father, who is thinner than me and has no ass, he's like a friggin' Ken doll when it comes to
okay
ass. Anyway, he's always complaining that his pants are falling down all the time. I'm like, Dad, why don't you wear suspenders?
Yeah.
I don't wear suspenders. And I'm like, he's playing golf. He's like, and first of all, he wears his shirts tucked in, which drives me nuts because you can see the pants falling down then. But that's a whole nother thing. And I'm like, I bought him a set of, there's suspenders out there that you can wear under your shirt. And I bought him a set of these cloth suspenders. I wear a set of them. I'm not wearing them today.
What are they like?
They're like cloth. And they clip to your pants, and the clips are rubber instead of metal, and you can wear them underneath a t-shirt.
Huh.
You can wear them with shirts that you wear untucked, and you can wear them over your shirt too, but they're designed to wear under your shirt. And I wear them. I wear them quite a bit.
But you got your dad's suspenders, and what happened?
And he doesn't think he should wear suspenders. I don't know. He doesn't.
What the fuck?
I don't understand it.
He's from the suspender generation.
I know.
Suspenders changed my life, man. Okay, that's a bit strong, but when you get to a certain size, your pants can't go up past the equator anymore.
Yeah.
And it's really like a belt's no longer viable. And I remember the first time that I got suspenders, I was like, oh, thank God. But I always have to wear like a t-shirt or an undershirt with them because I don't like them on my skin,
Well, I mean, these they feel like basically the same. They're not they're more like khaki than they are because they have to be thicker than
I mean,
t-shirt.
that's what I have.
Yeah. but they're designed to wear underneath the shirt. You should check it
Bracers
out.
is what the British call them.
Yeah, braces.
Yeah. But when I do get thin and everything, I'm probably still going to wear suspenders because I dig them. Belts are stupid.
I like them too. I mean, I wear them. I don't know, maybe not quite half the time, but
Do you ever get an article of clothing like that, specifically something that helps us fat guys, and you meet like a friend and you try to get them to do it, and like you're preaching, like you're suspender preaching, and then they don't do it. Well, okay, that's actually what we're talking about, isn't it? God, what's wrong with me?
I even gave him a set of under, and I'm like, why don't you try them out, see if you like them. No, I won't even try them. Old men.
Well, idiots. All right, so I have a.
With your parents, though, you just got to let them go their own way. Cause what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Got to live their lives.
Gotta let them go.
Yeah.
Let them out of the nest. My mother has been. I'm redesigning her book for her, and it's endless.
The book is endless, or redesigned?
Redesigning is endless, but mostly because of me. Like I did the corrections the other day, and I misspelled her name. I misspelled my mother's name. All right.
For those of you who don't know, Bull once misspelled the word failure.
I'll never forget when my daughter asked me how to spell genius. I was like, "Nah, I can't. I can't tell you that." But yeah. So my I read this article in the Guardian. It was a review of this TV show called Emily in Paris.
Yeah.
Right?
Never heard of it. Even after I didn't even look it up when you sent me the text.
So it's a show on Netflix, and it's a like a TV series that's a romantic comedy. All right. It's a girl named Emily, obviously an American, who ends up getting a job in Paris, and she has to navigate the whole thing of like living in Paris. But it is as the review said, it is empty television. There's no real substance to it or anything. It's romantic comedy, bubblegum pop, feel good. Everything works out constantly. There's no real pressure kind of stuff, right? I mean, it's childish television, to be honest, and it's really it's by MTV, so it's really for 20-year-olds, and it's all about 20-year-olds. All right, and everyone is like incredibly good looking and naked most of the time. This is the show it is, right? And this review was like, what a bunch of pablum, what a bunch of crap. Like, you shouldn't watch this stuff, and it's bad for your brain, and it's a show written by children with dolls. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch the show. And so I watched it, and now I'm in the second season. I can't stop watching it. It is everything this guy said. Empty calories television, it's ridiculous. You know exactly what's going to happen constantly. Like, everything's always going to work out, all right? The worst thing that happens is the incredibly hot girl, the actress, by the way, is Phil Collins' daughter, Lily Collins. The incredibly hot actress is going to have a difficulty with the two incredibly hot Frenchmen that she's dating, and they're going to run into each other at a restaurant. Ooh, oh my God, all right? It's fucking stupid. I fucking love it. I can't stop watching this fucking thing, and I was like, what is wrong with me? And I realized that even though I don't have a stressful life, as you know, all right, it's still, and this is why we were talking about my wife earlier watching reality television. My wife is multi-degreed scientist, safety professional, lawyer, and she's incredibly smart. Yet she watches 90 Day Fiancé, and she watches YouTube videos of women at airports being thrown off of planes, one after the other. She watches videos of women being arrested by police officers and being douchebags about it. She cannot get enough of that, right? And a couple of years ago, I was like, what is wrong with you? You're so smart. Why do you watch this stuff? And she was like, quit judging me, dickhead, which is our love language. And I realized that, I shouldn't judge her, because the stupidity of those shows, the schadenfreude of watching somebody else, there but for the grace of God go I type of stuff, is rewarding, and it's a complete disconnect, and that's the part that's valuable to her. And I'm wondering if that's what Emily in Paris is doing for me. Like, yeah, it is ridiculous, but man, I'm into it. Like, I can't wait to figure out what happens with her new British boyfriend. What's wrong with me? All right. It's a.
I heard a great quote from P.J. O'Rourke, the late political commentator, who said, one thing to remember is that half of all people are below average intelligence. I guess it's just you just like watching those people.
Yeah, I think so. Or
makes
being
you feel more intelligent.
I don't know how intelligent I am.
Do you agree with that? That half the people are below average intelligence?
Okay, I'm gonna say yes because I think maybe I'm missing a joke here. So explain to me what I'm missing.
The average would be basically a median.
Yeah.
To get an average, half the people have to be above it and below it. So
yeah, so it's obviously
true.
Yeah.
But
so if you struggle with that question,
the fact that you struggle with the question is.
Well, we know where I am on that spectrum right there. I don't think I'm particularly intelligent, man. I think that I'm lucky.
Have you ever taken an intelligent IQ test?
No. I don't really see a lot of value in those. And I don't see a lot of value in...
Well, most people who are dumb don't see any value in
Thank you, Dave. If you could write that down so I can look it up later.
As a matter of fact.
Are you really?
No.
Oh, okay. I would never join a club like that. What a fucking...
I would never join a club that would have me.
There you go. That's right. I don't think... I think that there are some people that put too much of a value on reason and intellect and forget that reason and intellect are never, ever, under any circumstances, what drives our decisions. They never are. It's always emotion that drives our decisions. And so if they don't put the same amount of effort into their emotional life as they do into their intellectual life, then they're always going to be off balance, and they'll never figure out why, because they think that the smarter they get, the better they can do at it, and they're fucking stupid that way, And
all right, I think we should pause for a second. I'm paused it. Oh, we can start recording.
Oh, because you got to go to the bathroom?
No.
Bunch of listeners.
All right.
Are we back?
We're back. So how are you going to get a bunch of listeners?
Okay, so I wrote this article. For those of you who don't know, I'm a Freemason, and I write about it a lot, and I lecture about it a lot. And I wrote an article about Freemasonry and how it could be a solution to Gen Z, the men of Gen Z's incredible epidemic of loneliness. Because men in Gen Z are fucking lonely. They're disconnected. They're freaking out. And used to be back in when we were younger and in previous generations, that never happened because you're always out. Okay, that looks weird. What are you doing?
I'm trying to get the label off.
So it used to be you were always around people. You're always around people. The men belonged to a bunch of different clubs, like the Lions Club and the Moose Lodge and everything. And your mom belonged to all these different things, and there was church, and there was football and baseball, and just you and your friends always running around doing stuff because that's what you had. But in the last 25 years or less, obviously, with the internet and everything like that, people become increasingly isolated until Gen Z, particularly after COVID, are literally alone. These people are just alone.
Yeah.
So I wrote this article saying, hey, look, this is where you can go. There's a bunch of dudes. They'll be your Dutch uncles and your fake grandpas, and it's a really nice thing. So it went viral. A lot of people read it. And I'm still getting feedback about this thing. And I got invited to speak at this huge conference in New York in January.
Ooh, can I go?
No.
All right.
Sorry. Knights of Columbus are cool and all, but...
Jeremiah Creek will be there.
Yeah. He's the Grand Master. And so so I'm going to go lecture there. And but before I lecture, I'm going on this podcast called The Craftsman's something, and it's huge. Like 100,000 people listen to it. So I'm definitely going to have a link to Jeremiah Creek on there.
Oh, thank you. We need some more listeners.
We'll see what happens. It's it's hard to get subscribers and stuff. And on this other channel that I made that is accidentally successful with no effort, none, Dave, no effort. I am 4 subscribers away from hitting the point where I need to monetize. I cannot tell you how hard it is to get those 4 people. I can't do it. It's been 2 weeks. I can't get them. I can't get 4 people.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the weirdest thing in the world, man. It's like
Well, say what it is. Maybe the 4 people that listen to this will subscribe.
yeah, it's a writer's ASMR. So just look it up on YouTube, and anyway, I put our links on the end of that thing, and I'm going to put our links on the thing in January about that. So we'll see how it goes. But the broadcast I'm doing 2 weeks from now, I'm not sure when it runs, so it'll be between now and January. So, and it's all old guys like us that are going to listen to this thing. So,
Well, that's what we need. I took my youngest child to college last week.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was more emotional for me than I thought it would be. And I was like, we had dinner with the kids. We had dinner with the kids like the night before, 2 nights before, or whatever. And I said, yeah, it's going to be kind of rough. And my kids were like, why? We've been kind of like, because we're getting ready to move and everything. So it's not like we don't have things to do. But I said, I don't know if you kids know this, but I could be kind of an annoying person, and it's going to be a little different when that annoyance factor isn't filtered among you kids, and it's all directed towards my wife. And my kids are like, "Oh, really? We never noticed."
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to work on that shit.
So we've been spending a lot of time together the last couple of days, and with the heat, my daughter lives close enough that we were like, if you want to come, you should come sleep, at the house with the air conditioning.
Yeah.
And so she came one night, but she started actual classes yesterday, so didn't want to come home last night. And it was funny because she's like, she came home Saturday night, I think.
How far away is Elmhurst from you guys?
Like 40 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
And she came home Saturday night, I think. And I'm like, as soon as she walked in, I'm like, oh, look who's home. Boy, I haven't seen you. Nice of you to come see your parents. She goes, I saw you yesterday. Well, it seems like
pretty
it's been
funny.
forever. She also went and did an audition for the college drama thing, which I was pleased to see that she's still trying to do that.
Awesome.
I didn't really prepare. She sang the last song she did in the last place she did, and a little dance. But she's like, I didn't really prepare. They didn't say what you need.
That's enough.
And I'm like, well, I said, I don't know how many people like audition for that stuff or how many people they need, but she's got red hair, and I'm like, that's a plus right there.
Yeah, it's stand out.
Yeah, so
my daughter is struggling out in Los Angeles.
yeah, I heard. Still looking for a job. The job market is really bad in Los Angeles.
So here's the deal: because of the strike and because of the slowdown in production, all the people that do
but that was last year, wasn't it? Is it still going on?
The strike's not going on, but the repercussions of the strike are still going on. So work is incredibly slow for a lot of reasons, but mainly for that. And this is what I get from talking to my friends who are in the industry, and so all the people that normally are the support staff, like people that do storyboarding, which is what she wants to do, and electrical stuff and all that stuff, don't have any work. So they're all taking all the jobs, like retail jobs, and the filler jobs that she is trying to get right now, so she can survive. So there's literally no jobs in Los Angeles. It's crazy. And she's trying to find some remote work, yesterday I gave her my very last connection. I have nothing left. I connected her through a friend to a person who runs a storyboard talent agency. I mean, that's the perfect thing for her, but they're like, we'll keep your stuff, but there's nothing right now.
Wow.
And it's not even AI. It's not AI that's killing it or anything. It's just that the production is down to zero, and so nobody's hiring. It's
Well, if
really,
you want, Steven Spielberg owes me a favor. I can ask him if he can do something for her.
I don't know, Dave. I don't know if she wants to get in. I don't know.
Pose.
I met him.
Did you?
Yep. I mean, okay. He walked by me and nodded. All right. So that's when I worked at Nickelodeon. He was at Nickelodeon for some reason, and A, he's short. B, he is a busy motherfucker. Like,
Did you ever see the meme of him after killing a dinosaur?
So awesome.
I love that.
It's such a great. That's the other thing that that my wife and I do sometimes, because she'll come home and she wants to watch TV with me, but we have it prepared. And so I'm now realizing we need to prepare beforehand to find out what we're going to watch, because we will spend 45 minutes figuring out what we're going to watch, and then it's too late and we're tired and we go to bed.
Speaking of memes, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I just heard, I saw one that this guy, actually it was a comedian, and he says that he wants to open a restaurant called I Don't Know, so he has a place to take his wife when she asks her what she wants to eat.
And the whole menu is whatever. I'll have what you're having. Here's the idea I had for my daughter to do, and I don't think she's going to do it, and I'm pretty mad about it because it's a great idea. I think she should take great famous scenes from famous movies. Like, let's go with the scene from When Harry Met Sally, when she has an orgasm and somebody goes, I'll have what she's having. She should storyboard those scenes in a completely different genre, right? You know, so like make that like a science fiction thing, you know, and
like the people who turned Frozen into a horror movie.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. Because you know what, people will notice that, and if she does just a single scene like that, storyboards a single scene that's just big enough to be interesting, small enough she can accomplish it, throw it on YouTube. Eventually she'll get noticed, and somebody will say, hey, you know what, we're not busy, can we shoot this? And there you go, that's what she's doing.
Or take some of your books and storyboard scenes.
Yeah,
the camel thing.
I don't think she's going to do that, but that would be pretty fun. I would love that. So, but no, I don't think
you
she's
should send her to Camel Story and say, you do a storyboard for this and just put it on YouTube.
Or the French Laundry would be good too.
Yeah.
Even the Mona Lisa one would be good. The Mona Lisa is the...
I think the camel one was funnier.
Feedback-wise, the Mona Lisa story is the one that the most people like.
Oh.
They like the Mona Lisa section for some reason. Then the second is French Laundry, but the one everyone talks about first is the camel. So.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Reed, that was in Fat in Paris, right?
Yep.
Fat in Paris. The camel story I thought was the funniest. Or Swimming in Garbage.
What the fuck is wrong with people?
Swimming in Garbage would be a good storyboard. I can visualize it in my head, although I would never be able to try it.
Yeah, it's so gross. You know, a lot of the rest of the world is pretty gross. To be honest, a lot of the rest of the world is complete. I hate saying this as a hardcore Democrat liberal, but having visited some other parts of the world, a lot of the world could really do with a boost in waste management.
I have never been anywhere that lived up to its reputation. I never visited anywhere that had a reputation that lived up to it. I hear that the one place that always comes through is the Grand Canyon. It lives up to the hype.
Lately, it's a little bit difficult.
Why?
They had massive floodings. People were killed. A lot of people had to be rescued by helicopter. Yeah.
Oh. People say if you visit Grand Canyon, that lives up to the hype. And like the places that I've gone in my travels were never the real high end places. You know, like I went to Korea, and you know Seoul is like being in Chicago. There's nothing there. It's just a city. But Daegu was absolutely wonderful. Never heard of it, and I never hear people talking about it.
Yeah.
And same thing with Panama. But you know, when I went to places, it was usually with a rifleman.
Yeah, I mean, people mind their manners in those moments.
That's what I said that to my kids. I have no interest in traveling anywhere outside the United States. There's a lot of things inside the United States that I haven't seen that I want to see, but I have no interest in going to London or Paris.
It is so alien to me.
Yeah. I mean, I want to go to I've never seen the Mount Rushmore. I've never been to the Grand Canyon. I've only been to the airport and the surrounding area in Alaska. I would love to go to Alaska.
When were you in Alaska? Was that for the Navy?
When I was in the Marine Corps, going to
invade
Japan.
Russia? Oh,
Japan. And we had
what the fuck would you go to Alaska to go to Japan?
It's that way. Japan's in the Pacific.
I know, but you go straight across. I mean,
well, I don't know.
Go up to.
I wasn't part of the planning.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, because we went from California.
Yeah. You can go straight across. You can stop in Hawaii and like get a drink of water and then keep going, and you're in Japan. That's why there's so many Japanese.
Point in your life where you just get on the airplane and go where they tell you to go. And
that would be when you're in the military.
Yeah.
Or when you're married.
Yeah. But I mean, I would love to see Mount Rushmore. I also want to go to places I've seen the songs. You know, and the reason this came up was I was driving with my sister from. She was driving back from California, so I met her in Arizona, and we drove back together from Arizona. And I went to Tucumcari, and I went to Winslow, Arizona. And
You're standing on a corner?
I stood on a corner, and I actually took a picture of them. Like, I would love to start doing something like Lukenbach, Texas. You know.
Oh yeah, you should definitely do that.
Some of these songs that I've liked in my life that mention places I like to go to.
What are other
places.
songs like that? Detroit Rock City.
Yeah. Well, I also want to go to Muscle Shoals, not because
I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go to Muscle Shoals.
There's
Alabama.
a great restaurant in Muscle Shoals that's right near the studio, and it is so awesome. We really enjoyed Muscle Shoals.
I mean, I've been to Memphis and done all the Elvis stuff, so that's kind of cool. But it'd be interesting to go to some of those places. You know, even though they're tourist, some of them are tourist traps now. Is Muscle Shoals a tourist trap now?
No. It's an industrial city. It's a port city, and so there's a lot of shipping stuff going on, and the studios are tiny, and they're surrounded by shopping centers and stuff. It's not like off at a swamp like you hope. It's not like that at all.
You know, I've also wanted to do the around the lake. Maybe, I should do that this fall.
You've talked about that a lot of times, and I think you should do it. That's a great book.
I should take my wife on a road trip.
I had an idea for a website, and I tried to make it work, and I just gave up.
Would it be the Jeremiah Creek website? Then?
No, shut up. It was the top 20 breweries in the Midwest, and then I wanted to do a sub thing of that was just the breweries that are on the lake, right? Because there's a bunch.
Yeah.
That would be a great thing. That website did okay for a little bit, but the amount of work you have to put into something like that is ridiculous, and I don't have the time for it. And
I went to New Buffalo the other day for dinner, and there was a whiskey. I can't think of the name. There was a whiskey, I guess, distillery in or near New Buffalo.
Where's New Buffalo?
Michigan, right over the border.
There's a ton of distilleries around there. You need to take that?
Yeah, I'll call her back.
There's so many distilleries, so many places making whiskey now. It's like it is in Scotland. In Scotland, there's so many places making Scotch. It's not the top 20 you can name right now. There's 100 other ones that you've never heard of before. It's like that in America now. There's so many places making whiskey and gin and vodka. It's insane. And all of them, so many of them have their own specialty thing. Like there's this guy in Tarpon Springs, Florida, makes okay.
Kids.
I'm telling you.
God. Anyway, so what were we talking about?
Snails and why they're delicious. So here's the thing about escargot.
I don't think we were talking about that.
Oh yeah, no, we weren't. I don't remember. This is the problem with our
We
tangential.
paused for a second because I had to take a phone call.
I went to a neighbor's for dinner recently. This guy's been trying to hang out with me forever. I'm finally like, all right. I went to this guy's house. He made steak and everything. He lives on the same street as me, really close. And so we hung out on his back deck. It was a Friday, and it was like 6 to 8, I guess. It was almost impossible to have a conversation. There was some kind of crazy thing happening in Edgebrook with the train and traffic and something. There were helicopters and honking, and the train horn.
The train
was
hit a car.
Yeah, okay. So that we were having dinner while that happened. The somebody was like shooting off fireworks nearby. It was really weird. And then the freaking planes going over every 14 seconds, right over our head and hitting their brakes right there, or letting their wheels down and everything. And the cicadas, all those things together. We spent most of the time waiting for an opening in the noise to finish our conversation.
That train accident was right at Devon and Caldwell. I had the only train accident I actually had to handle in my career was at that same place.
It's you have 5 major roads going right there, a bus line, and a metro stop.
And the train crosses 2 different streets.
Yeah.
But it's handling train. First of all, the reason why we don't handle train accidents, policemen don't handle train accidents. It's amazing. The Metro police handle everything, and it was it was a sight to see. They were very good. They knew how to handle everything. The only thing we had to get involved in was because they couldn't find the driver of the car. So you have to look for the police.
Where were they?
We handled traffic and looking for.
Did they just get out and run?
What had happened was the guy, his car got destroyed. He walked away with barely a scratch, and immediately went to the nearest bar to drink.
Wow.
We found him in the bar.
Wow.
Kind of stunned.
That's wow. That's intense. That's the way to do it. I respect that, man.
Yeah, nobody give him a hard time too much.
It is one of the. It's such a congested part of Chicago, and it's everyone that is going away from the city is on their way home, and they're so close to their house, right? Yeah. And they're done. And people going the opposite direction are, I guess I don't know what they're doing, but they're in such a hurry, you know. And I looked at the numbers on those streets like 15 years ago, and the amount of cars on Central, on Lehigh, and on Caldwell is insane. Like how many cars per hour is insane.
But I have to say, and I remember distinctly when this happened, there was a school bus that was hit almost 30 years ago now. Mm-hmm. Because I remember watching it on the news while we were getting an ultrasound of my first child being born. So it was 6 months before he was born. And they have done so much. It was the same line, but it was way out in the suburbs. But they have done so much to safety to the point where it's a little bit. I have to remind myself sometimes that the reason why it takes so long to get through these corners when there's trains around is because they're doing it for safety. It's insane.
Yeah,
they shut down everything.
Yeah,
and so I whenever I see these accidents, I make, I have the same thought, is that these accidents hurt because somebody's being stupid, because they're so far over the top with safety on these things.
Yeah, there's somebody that thinks they can make it.
Yeah, it's like, ever since the Queen of Angels fire, where all those kids died in school, fire safety in schools is so bad. We have not had a single one. It's almost impossible for a school to catch on fire these days.
Good.
And it now, because of that, the safety in schools has gone way up. There's not much kids can do that's stupid that can get them involved in a fire. But with trains, it's almost always somebody going around the tracks or stopping. I guess they're stopping in there. If you're going north on Central and you get stuck at the light on Devon, and there's more than 6 or 7 cars, like regular sedan-sized cars, somebody could get stopped on the tracks.
Yeah.
And be there. You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, you're supposed to be patient.
Yeah.
No one is.
And why you would pull up to a car that's right at the edge of the tracks on the other side?
That car's in danger too. It happened to my aunt when my wife was in the car with her at that intersection, exactly where you're talking about. And they got stuck on the tracks, and there was a train coming. And so my aunt drove off the road into between the tracks, like into the gravel between the tracks. And the train just barely missed them. And because of that, my wife has lifelong trauma of train tracks. If I ever stop at a train track, we'll get divorced. Yeah, it's bad.
We had one accident. A car drove onto the gravel between the tracks because the GPS told her to turn right.
That is the worst.
You know what? The worst thing about that was we pull up and we're like, "What happened?" Well, the GPS said to turn right, and I'm like, "You may not want to repeat that to anybody." And the next person who came up asked her, and she said exactly the same thing. And it's like the tracks. This was at where Northwest Highway crosses Raven, I think, where that little park is.
Yeah,
there. There's a street right after. There's a street you can turn on right after that goes along. Northwest Highway goes along one side of the tracks. There's another street that goes along the other side of the tracks.
Why would somebody do that? I mean, I trust GPS, but
I'm not going to make blonde jokes. The GPS was telling her to turn right at the next street, and she turned right onto the tracks.
That's just.
And then repeated that story to anybody who would ask, like there was nothing wrong with it.
Maybe she was trying to make sure that GPS is at fault and not her.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is not the case.
No. All right. So I don't have any other topics. Do you have any other topics?
I'm an extraordinarily boring person.
Yes,
so
we are.
No.
If
I have
you want to
nothing.
suggest some topics for us to talk about, we are more
I
than
do.
willing.
I do think you need to make me an administrator on our YouTube channel.
You are an administrator on our YouTube channel.
I am.
I'll check and make sure, but I'm pretty sure I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Cool.
All right.
I'll fix some stuff.
Thank you for joining us.